Good evening, friends. In the last lecture, we have seen the various types of the standards, that is the international prototype, then primary standard, secondary standard, working standards. So, moving ahead, uh, the we will see the classification of the standards for the linear measurement. So there are three types of the standards are there which are used for the linear measurement. So first is a line standard, second is called as end standard, and third is called as a wavelength standard. So as the name indicates, it is used for the linear measurement. So linear measurement means you can measure the linear dimensions, length, width, thickness, height, etc. So we will discuss this in detail now. So what is meaning of line standard? Many times this question is asked as a difference between line standard and end standard. So line standard is nothing but when the distance is measured as a distance between two parallel lines, then it is called as a line standards. Okay, so as we can see, some of the examples are there. Example, yard or meter is the line standard, steel rule, scale, all these are the examples of the line standard. As everybody is using the steel rule or scale, we can see that on a scale some markings are there, and you are measuring the distance as the distance between the successive markings. So if you take the example of a scale, there are successive markings are there, and the spacing between two successive marks is 1 mm. So here you are measuring the distance between the two parallel lines. That's why it is called as a line standard. So word distance between two parallel lines, here lines is very important. Now what is this, how this meter is defined? So meter, 1 meter is defined as it is the distance between center portion of two lines which are etched on a polished surface of a bar of pure platinum iridium alloy which is kept in Paris, that is in France. So in last lecture we have seen that what is a standard. So standard is nothing but it is used to designate universally accepted specification or universally accepted physical object. So 1 meter standard is a physical object which is kept in Paris, that is a bar. Okay, a bar is there. The material of that bar is a pure platinum iridium alloy, and how it is defined? So it is the distance between the center portion of the two lines on a polished surface. Okay, so these things are defined. So we'll see this in detail. Now as you can see, whatever is defined in the last slide, that we will try to understand now. This is the actual, it is a prototype of a 1 meter bar. The section of this bar, you can see this section is shown here. It has a wave like section. Okay, now intentionally this section of this bar is kept wave like because it has a maximum rigidity. Okay, wave like section has the maximum rigidity, that's why this shape is chosen. Its section is a 16 mm by 16 mm. So 16 mm thickness, 16 mm say width, and its total length is a 1020 mm. You can see this bar here, this is the actual component. Now as shown in the definition, it is a bar of pure alloy of platinum and iridium. Okay, specifically it is chosen because these the material of this alloy is not going to change its properties over a longer period. That's why it is intentionally chosen. Now you can see the total length of this bar is a 1020 mm. So now if you see, this is the central portion of the bar, and on this central portion the lines are marked. So here the lines will be marked. Now these lines are marked such that from each end 10 mm distance will not be considered. So from this end 10 mm distance is not considered, from this end also 10 mm distance is not considered. So the markings will start from this end. So 0 will start from here and 1000 will end here. Okay, and the markings are there on the central portion. So the marking is going to be from on this central portion. So 10 mm will be left from this side, 10 mm from the other side, and this whatever is this distance is there, that distance is referred as 1 meter, and this distance is measured at 0 degree centigrade. Okay, so this is the standard for the 1 meter. So as defined in the last slide, all the things are mentioned. Distance between center portion of the two lines, each on polyester surface of bar of pure platinum iridium alloy kept in France. So this is as far as the 1 meter standard is concerned. Then let us see what is the standard for the 1 yard. Okay, so similar to the 1 meter standard, 1 yard is there. So this is the physical object for the 1 meter yard. So in some countries, still the yard is used as their unit for measuring the linear dimensions. So yard, the imperial yard was was first set up in England. Now the imperial standard as which is shown in figure, it is now its material, you can see its material is a bronze. That is, bronze means what? 82% copper, 13% tin and 5% zinc. So it is a bar of this material, and its section is 1 inch by 1 inch and square cross section. In the previous it was a wave like section. This is a square section, thickness 1 inch, width 1 inch, and the total length is a 38 inches long. It is square cross section, 38 inches long. So this distance, total distance of this bar is 38 inches, whereas the width and thickness is 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay, now in this total 38 inches, what is done? You can see here 2 gold plugs. Okay, 2 round recesses called wales. So you can see these are the 2 round recesses are there. They are called as wales. They are 1.5 inch diameter and 1.5 inch deep. Are located. These are located 1 inch away from the 2 ends. So out of these 38 inches, 1 inch from this end and 1 inch from this end, 2 recesses called as wales of this much dimensions are created in this bar. Now after creating these wales, 2 gold plugs, okay, 2 gold material, 2 plugs of material gold whose dimension is 1 by 10 inch in diameter, having 3 lines which are engraved transversely. You can see here, this is the enlarged view of the gold plug. So this is the enlarged view of gold plug, and in this gold plug 3 transverse lines are engraved and two lines longitudinally. So this is first line, this is second line, two lines longitudinally and three lines transversely. These, so this gold plug is inserted, so these two gold plugs are inserted into these two wells so that the lines remain at the neutral. So this is the neutral plane. Now as you can see, now this is the arrangement. Now what is a 1 yard? So 1 yard is nothing but it is the distance between, so its definition is you can see its definition is, it is the distance between two central transverse lines. Okay, so similar to this, this is one gold plug, here there will be another gold plug. So the distance between central two transverse lines, so of gold plug, so this is one transverse line, there will be one more transverse line will be there. So the distance between these two transverse lines, which is a 36 inches, and it is measured at 62 degree Fahrenheit. So that distance is referred as a 1 yard. So these two are called as the prototypes. These are nothing but the international prototypes for the linear measurement, that is 1 meter prototype and 1 yard prototype. So whenever these are universally accepted, and these are referred as the ultimate reference for any linear measurements. Okay, so this was as far as the linear prototypes was concerned. So same is shown here that we just discussed. This is a 38-inch long bar. These are the two gold plugs which are inserted, and this is a one transfer line. So the distance between this transfer line and this transverse line, which is measured at 62 degree Fahrenheit. This is the section, this is the enlarged view of this recess. So 1 inch, so 1 inch by 1 inch cross section is there, and the gold plugs are inserted here. So this was as far as the international prototype of the meter and yard was concerned. Now moving further, we'll see the next thing, that is so again this is the actual photograph of this yard. Okay, so this is 1 inch by 1 inch, and these are the recess. You can see this is a bronze material, and you can see this is the gold plug. Okay, this gold plug is there, and if you see there are lines. So this is a transfer line. So one gold plug will be inserted here, another gold plug will be inserted here, and the distance between the transfer lines of the gold plug here and gold plug here will be called as the 1 yard. Now this was as far as the line standard was concerned. Now we will see what is the end standard. Now what is the end standard? Now if you recall the definition of the line standard, in the line standard the distance is measured between two lines, whereas in case of the end standard the measurement of the distance is made between two surfaces. Here the word surfaces is very important. Okay, instead of lines, here the distance is measured between the two surfaces. Okay, so we can the examples are vernier calipers, slip gauges are the examples of the end standards. Okay, so in both these examples, vernier caliper and slip gauges, the distance is measured between two parallel faces. Surfaces are there, not the lines. Okay, that's why obviously end standards are highly accurate, and very small dimensions can be measured with it. So as far as the accuracy is concerned, end standards are highly accurate than the line standard as the distance is measured between the two surfaces. So some example, still few examples, micrometer is there, slip gauges are there. These are the examples of the end standard. So keep this has to be kept in mind. First difference between line standard and end standard: the distance in case of the line standard, the distance is measured between two parallel lines, whereas in case of the end standard, this distance is measured between two surfaces. So this is say these are the examples. So you might have, in the last slide we have seen this word slip gauge. So what are these slip gauges? So if you see this slip gauge is the slip gauges are nothing but the rectangular blocks which are highly accurate. Okay, you can see there is a set of the various set of the slip gauges having various dimensions. So this slip gauge box is available in our metrology and quality control lab. So if you go through this set of the slips, these slip gauges are nothing but the end standards, and which these are going to be used as a reference for your measurements. So these are the rectangular blocks. As you can see, rectangular blocks are there, and the distance between two polished faces is highly accurate. For example, if you say, if we take the example of this slip gauge, okay, let us say this slip gauge, let us assume that each slip gauge has 6 faces. So out of 6 faces, only 2 faces are highly polished. Okay, there is a mirror finish. Let us assume that this face and the face opposite to this here, they are highly polished face. So out of 6, these 2 are only polished faces, whereas rest of the 4 faces are roughly polished. So whenever we are designating a slip gauge, the distance between two opposite highly polished, you can call it as a mirror polished surfaces. So the distance between two highly polished opposite surfaces is nothing but the dimension of that particular slip gauge. For example, let us say that the dimension of this slip gauge is 50 mm. So what it means, the which distance is 50, whether this distance is 50, where length is 50, where this width is this thickness is 50, where width is 50, which distance is 50. So the distance 50 is between the two parallel opposite faces. So this is one face which is highly polished, this is highly, again the face opposite to this is also highly polished. So the distance between these two faces is nothing but 50. So if you see this slip gauge carefully, you can easily identify which surfaces are highly polished and which surfaces are roughly. So it is very easy to identify which surfaces are polished. Then what is the use? So if this distance is 50 mm, so it will be you can say it is 50 means it will be 50.000. So that kind of accuracy is maintained while manufacturing the slip gauge. So if you measure the dimension across these two parallel surfaces with highly sophisticated advanced techniques, you will get it as a 50.00000 up to certain decimals. So that kind of accuracy is maintained. That's why it is referred as a standard. Okay, now what is the use, why this set is given? In this particular say box, the slip gauges will start from 0.1 mm to say 9 mm. In certain steps are there. So there is a various in various steps, the various dimensions slip gauges are there. So the objective is, with the help of this particular set, you can build any dimension. For example, you can see here this, you can go through this picture. or go through this image, you can see this is one slip gauge, this is another slip gauge, and uh, some action is being shown. So this action is called as a ringing of the slip gauges, means this slip gauge and this slip gauge. So the final after ringing, so the process of combining the two slip gauges, the process of combining the two slip gauges in order to get a particular dimension is called as the ringing, WRINGING, ringing of the slip gauges. So the final action or final result is here. After ringing, this is one slip gauge, this is another slip gauge, both are to be assembled. This is the required thing. Suppose this slip gauge dimension is say 50 mm and this slip gauge dimension is say again 30 mm. So when you ring these two slip gauges together, you are going to get the total dimension as 80.000 mm exactly. So if you want 80 mm exactly, you have to combine these two slip gauges, and after combination you will get the 80.000 mm exactly, which is not possible to get with other say standards. So this process of say building a dimension with the help of the two slip gauges is called as a ringing process. So in the speciality of the ringing process is that while building a dimension, none of the adhesive is required, because this is a temporary say attachment. So how it works, how ringing action works? So since we know that this is a highly polished surface and this highly polished surface is there, so what you have to do, you have to combine these two slip gauges by rotating the you have to keep one slip gauge over the another slip gauge, and you have to rotate this slip gauge which is on the top in say in opposite direction. And as you move this slip gauge in opposite direction, cohesive force is developed between these two slip gauges, and you will get the final result like this. Okay, so it is they when you ring the slip gauges, they will look like they are pasted to one another, and it is not easy to separate these two slip gauges. A certain amount of force is required to separate these two slip gauges. Okay, so this is called as a ringing of the slip gauge. Many times this question is asked in the orals. At the time of the oral, this question is asked, what is a ringing of the slip gauge? Okay, now one video is there. Let us say whether it gets played. No, it is not getting played, so let us move further. Now one more image is shown, where in this image you can see various slip gauges are rung and a dimension is big. You can see around more than 10 to 15 slip gauges are rung together and a particular dimension is achieved. Okay, so you can see 36 gauge blocks are rung together easily, support their own weight. So the cohesive force is such that they are supporting their own weight. So this is possible because these slip gauges are highly polished. Okay, there are no dirt particles are there, so that's why a particular vacuum is created, and they get attached to one another. Then one more question is asked many times, that is a difference between the line standard and N standard. So we will discuss this now. Just one second. Now we'll discuss the difference between line standard and N standard. A lot of times this difference is asked at the time of the exam, that is INSEM exam. So we can easily write this because we have discussed this in detail. So we can write down 4 to 5 points. That is in case of the line standard, the accuracy of the line standard is limited to 0.2 mm, whereas the end standards are highly accurate. Close dimensional tolerances up to 0.001 mm can be achieved. So end standards are highly accurate. This question is also asked at the time of the oral, that which of the standard is accurate, where line standard or end standard. So in that, at that time you should be able to answer the question. Then second parameter is how much time is required. So obviously the time required for the measurement in case of the line standard is less, that's why it is quick, also it is easy. Whereas in case of the end standards, measurement is time consuming, because you have to do some kind of calculation, that is manipulations you have to do. You have to use some formula, you have to calculate the list count, you have to find out the main scale reading, vernier scale reading, and you have to add or subtract errors. So all these things consume some time, that's why the measurement time is large. Then third point is after use scale markings are not subjected to wear. So this is one more point. After use, the measuring faces get worn out. So in case of the say end standard, since the distance is measured between two faces, so after frequent use these faces get worn out, which is not the case in case of the line standard. Then what kind of error is expected? So in case of the line standard, parallax error can occur. So what is this parallax error? So we are going to see it in detail in sources of the error. So you just at this time you just remember that the parallax error can occur. It is the error which is related to reading a dimension. Okay. Whereas in case of the end standard, parallax error is not possible, but error due to change in temperature or improper ringing of slip gauges may occur. So that kind of error is expected in case of the end standards. Then as far as the cost of manufacturing and ease of manufacturing is concerned, line standard manufacturing is simple, as well as its cost of manufacturing is low, obviously very simple. Whereas in case of the end standard, the manufacturing process is complex, as well as the cost is high. There is a very simple correlation is there. Easy the process, less is the cost. Complex is the manufacturing process, more is the manufacturing cost. Because in case of the end standards, accuracy is very high. So if you want to impart that amount of accuracy in your measuring instrument, you have to manufacture that instrument in that particular style only. Okay. And examples of the line standards, we have already given you. The scale is the example of the line standard, whereas in case of the end standard, slip gauges, micrometer, anvils, length bars, these are the examples of the end standard. So these 5 to 6 points are there. So many times this question is asked for 4 marks in the INSEM exam. So you can write any 4 points. There's actually no need to remember all these points. If you have the logic of say remembering the what is the line standard, what is its application, and what is end standard, what is its application, where it is used. So all these things can be remembered logically, and any 4 points you can say memorize, and you can write the answer. Then now we are discussing the standards. So in these standards, whatever standards we have seen up till now, these are the meter standards, isn't it? Because in both cases we have seen 1 yard, 1 meter. Meter is there. One is a platinum iridium alloy, and then second is a bronze. So both are the metal standards, but the metal standard has got its own disadvantages. So what are these disadvantages? So first disadvantage is that metal standards are subjected to environmental conditions like temperature, humidity, pressure. As we know that since they are subjected uh, to this environmental condition like high temperature, low temperature, humidity, pressure, so these environmental conditions can change the dimensions of the metal standard. They can change the properties of that metal standards, and if these dimensions get changed because of the environmental factors, it is of no use, because the most basic characteristics which is required for any standard is that it should be stable. It should not change its dimensions, should not change its characteristics, and if that doesn't happen, it is of no use. So metal standards are prone to this environmental conditions, and they may be of no use. Second, in case of the damage of the metal standards, exact copies cannot be made. We have seen that there is one international prototype is there. From the international prototype, you are making the exact copies. You are producing the primary standards. From primary standards, secondary standards, and from secondary standards, there will be working standards. So what you are doing? You are trying to copy the international prototype, but it is impossible to produce the exact copies of any part in the world. It is inherent, because you take any kind of whatever sophisticated techniques you use, it is impossible to produce the exact replica of any, say, physical object. So if the any prototype gets damaged, it is very difficult, it is impossible to produce the exact copies. Then third, exact replicas are not available elsewhere. Means if we need a copy of standard in some remote place, so it is not available everywhere, because as we have seen, the international prototype is available only in France. The national standards are available only in national laboratories, isn't it? So these standards are not available everywhere. So that is another disadvantage. Fourth, these metal standards are required to be preserved under strict surveillance to avoid the damage. So as we know that it is very difficult to produce the exact copies. We have to make sure that they don't get damaged. These standards are kept under strict surveillance, so that is another disadvantage. So considering these disadvantages, instead of using the metal standard, the wavelength standard is used. Light wavelength standard is used. So as you can see, because of the problems of the variation in the length of the material standards, the possibility of using light as a basic unit to define the standard has been considered. So because of these problems in metal standards, the wavelength of the light is used as a is to define the standard. So here the basic principle is the wavelength of selected radiation of the light is used as a basic unit of length. So the wavelength of the selected radiation. So what are those selected radiations that we will see? The advantages are whatever disadvantages of which are discussed in the this say metal standard. All these are overcome in the wavelength standards. So you can compare that. You can see that wavelength of the monochromatic light is generally used. So it is a natural and static unit of length. It reduces a dependency problem on physical standards. uh, this wavelength standard has no effect of variation in terms of temperature, pressure, or overall environment. So you just recall the disadvantages of the meter standards. So let us compare one by one. Wavelength standard is not subjected to environmental conditions like temperature, humidity, and pressure. These environmental conditions are not going to affect the wavelength of the light. The wavelength of the light is going to remain static in varying temperature. Second, it is not possible to damage the wavelength. Is it possible to damage the wavelength of the light? No, it is not possible. So there is no issue of the damage. Then you can make number of whatever replicas you want. You can make them easily as it is. Okay, so you can produce the wavelength, because wavelength does not change, so exact replicas are possible. And fourth one is that wavelength standards are not required to be present under strict surveillance to avoid the damage, because there is no possibility of the damage. So there is no not any necessity of keeping it under strict surveillance, because nobody can say rob the wavelength of the light. So all the disadvantages which are concerned with the metal standard, all these disadvantages are overcome by the wavelength standard. So 1 meter is defined in terms of the wavelength as 1 meter is equal to 1650763.73 into wavelength of the radiation of krypton 86 isotope. Okay, so this particular, the wavelength of this particular item is taken, that is krypton 86 isotope. Its wavelength is taken, and its wavelength of radiation into this particular number, that is 1650763.73. the wavelength of the radiation of this particular krypton 86 item is 605.78 nanometer. Okay, so overall it will be a total 1 meter distance. So 1 meter distance is equal to this number into wavelength of the radiation of krypton 86 isotope. So for this particular standard, the light has to be monochromatic light. Okay, so you can see here light source. So light source is a orange radiation of krypton 86. So the light source is a orange radiation of krypton 86 isotope, and this it is going to send the wave. So you can see the distance 1650763.73 times the wavelength of this particular orange radiation of krypton 86. So 1 meter is defined in terms of the wavelength of this particular source of the light. So same is shown here. Now sometimes instead of defining the wavelength of light in terms of the krypton 86 isotope, it is defined. You can see the definition here. 1 meter is also defined as the length of the path traveled by the light in vacuum in this particular time. Okay, so instead of using the krypton 86, now the light is used. Now what is this light? This light is nothing but it is a iodine stabilized helium neon laser beam. Okay, so this particular iodine stabilized helium neon laser is passed in vacuum, and the distance traveled by this particular helium neon laser in vacuum in this much time, that is a 1 divided by 299792458 seconds. So the distance traveled by the this particular laser in this particular time in vacuum is nothing but 1 meter. The why this laser is preferred afterwards, because we know that the laser beam can travel a large distance in a straight line. That is the speciality of the laser. So this this can also be used as a standard of 1 meter. Okay, so advantages of using wavelength standards, we have we have already briefed this. Still we will see once more. That is length does not change. It is, since it is a say wavelength never changes, it remains constant, so there is no change of changing the length. It can be easily reproduced if gets destroyed, so it is very easy to reproduce this wavelength standard, which is not possible in the metal standard. It is accessible to any physical laboratory. Okay, this can be accessible. It can be used for making measurements with much higher accuracy than material standards. So if you compare the accuracy of the wavelength standards and the accuracy of the material standard, the accuracy of the wavelength standards is much higher than the material standards. Then the wavelength standards can be reproduced consistently at any time and at any place. So you can reproduce these standards with high consistency at any point of time at any place. So this was related as far as the standards are considered. So in today's lecture, what we have seen, I will just recall. Basically the objective was to study the various types of the standards which are used for the linear measurements. So two types of the standards are there: metal standards and wavelength standards. Under metal standard there is a line standard and end standard. So we see what is the line standard, how meter is defined, what are the international prototypes of the meter and yard, that we have seen. Then we see the different examples of the line standard and edge standard. Then we discuss the slip gauges. What are the slip gauges? What is the ringing of the slip gauge? What is the objective of the ringing of the slip gauge? That we have seen. Then we saw the difference between the line standard and edge standard. That is discussed. Then we see the disadvantage of the metal standards. Then we saw the wavelength standard. Why the wavelength standard is preferred over the metal standard. So these things we have seen in today's lecture. So in the next lecture we are going to discuss the accuracy and precision and next part. So thank you very much. So we'll stop here.